Hello everyone and welcome to the 8th episode of the Frostbites podcast. My name is Minna. I'm coming to you from Finland, and for us in Finland Christmas is tomorrow. That's when we celebrate it on Christmas Eve. I have already opened one of my Christmas gifts, which is this beautiful shawl that I'm wearing. I took part in the Dingo Die Works Christmas swap knit along, which I talked about already in my last episode. So if you want to find out more, you can check that out. My swap partner, who I knit something, has decided to open hers on the 25th on the Australian Christmas. So I'm not going to say anything about that yet, just in case she's watching, but I will show you what I received. My secret Santa was Chris, who lives in Sydney, and she had made me this beautiful blue shawl, which is a design by Meg Gatsby, who is also from Sydney. It's called A Midnight in Sydney, and it's this gorgeous garter stitch and lace shawl, and it's really beautifully made. I have been wearing it almost every day since I received it, and it's made in Dingo Die Works Richie Ditch in colorway Mandalay. Excuse my voice, I think that I'm just going to get a Christmas cold. I started having a sore throat today and my nose has been running, and I hope it doesn't get any worse than this. But my voice is a bit funny today, so bear with me. So Chris made me this lovely, beautiful shawl, and she also sent me 3 skeins of Australian yarn. I couldn't believe my eyes when I opened the package. And that wasn't all. I will show you the yarn in a minute. But I also received this beautiful project bag from Nina's Give Me a Crown Etsy shop. Chris sent me this bag, which I had already seen on Nina's podcast, and I thought that I might order it for myself because I really liked the Australian wildflower print that it has. But then I didn't order it, but I was really surprised when I got it in the mail a few weeks later. It's one of these snap bags, and it's quite handy if you want to keep your yarn untangled. You can have one yarn coming from this side and another one from here, and it really keeps your project inside. You don't necessarily need a zipper. So that was a nice surprise on top of all the yarn, which I will show you later in the acquisitions. So you'll have to wait for a while. She also sent me this beautiful Christmas card, which also has an Australian flower on it. I guess it's called Warta, this flower. That's at least what it says at the back, and it's a watercolor painting by Alison Dickin. And she also wrote me a letter which I'm not going to read now for you guys, but it was a really nice package all in all that I received. What else? I bought a Christmas flower arrangement with a hyacinth, and this I don't know what this is called in English nor in Finnish for that matter. It's like a small Christmas tree, and as I don't have a Christmas tree, that will do as my substitute this year. I normally don't get a Christmas tree in the house because I spend hardly any time at home during Christmas. I'm usually with family and friends, and I intend to do that this year as well. So it doesn't really make sense to have a big Christmas tree in here, and then it would probably lose its needles before I came back. Okay, excuse me. Speaking of Dingo Die Works, I have some really nice, exciting news. Peter from the Dingo Die Works contacted me about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and she sent me a message, and she said that she would like to donate a prize for my Lamus cowl, and if I would like that, and of course I would like that. So I will draw a winner from the finished objects thread in Revelry, in the Lamus knit along, and the winner gets to pick one skein of Dingo Die Works yarn from Peter's shop. And I have one skein here just as an example. This is one of the skeins that Chris sent me for my Christmas swap gift. So a skein like this, or something in another color, or maybe in another base that you like in Peter's shop, might be yours. Just remember to keep knitting my Lamus socks and enter the knit along by posting pictures or comments on the chatter thread, or photos of your finished objects in the finished objects thread. That's a tongue twister. So you might be a lucky winner for Peter's beautiful yarn. And just in case you are new and haven't heard of this knit along we're having earlier, we are having a knit along for my first sock design, which is Lamus sock. And the pattern is available in Revelry, and I would love to see you join us in the CAL. And the CAL is running until the end of this year, so you can still have some time to knit. You can even have enough time. You will even have enough time to start if you haven't already. It uses fingering weight yarn. I can't remember specifically, maybe 65 grams of fingering weight yarn in my socks. I made these in size 36 European. So if you have a skein of nice fingering weight sock yarn, maybe you want to join us. Okay, and we have other prizes as well, which I have talked about in my previous episodes, and you can also find all the information in the knit along threads. Okay, let's move on to finished objects. I have one that I can show you. Since my last episode, I started test knitting a scarf in brioche for a Finnish designer and yarn dyer, Leeni Hoimela. And she has designed this beautiful long scarf which is knit in 2-color brioche. I am using 2 different colorways from Leeni's DK weight yarns. The other one is yellow with speckles, and actually it's a bit hard to see because the colors are so close to each other. This is the yellow colorway that you can see here, and then the other side is more pink. And it's quite long, it's about 150 centimeters long, and I put tassels on both ends. And it's really soft and squishy, and I'm going to give it to my goddaughter as a Christmas present. It's a really nice pattern, but you really have to pay attention to what you're doing. I made so many mistakes just because I wasn't concentrating enough, and probably because I was knitting it late at night quite often. So I was quite tired and couldn't concentrate so much. I forgot to do some increases and decreases on the way, and I would notice that when I had already knitted like 40 centimeters, so I had to rip back almost to the beginning. I knitted back up and a bit further, and then I noticed that again I had forgotten those decreases and I had to rip back, and so I probably ripped back about half of the length of the scarf. So it took me a while to make this, but all in all I think it could be a quick knit, a few days, if you paid attention to what you're doing. But I hope that my goddaughter will like it. I think the color is pretty good. You can't really go wrong with these colors for a young girl. And yeah, I almost was tempted to keep this to myself, but maybe I'll make another one for myself a bit later. And the pattern will be published early next year. So and it will be in Finnish. I don't know if there's going to be an English translation later, but for what I know, it's going to be in Finnish. And if you're interested in it, I will be happy to give you more details later when and where it is published. But let's keep that a secret so far. That was my only finished project, and then we can move on to works in progress. I have pretty much the same projects that I'm working on as in my last episode, but I have made some progress on each of these socks. So I have 5 pairs of socks on the needles. The first one I'm going to show you is half finished. This is the Twist and Shout socks by Heli Rajavaara. This is also a test knit. It's knit in Knitlops Lair Väinämöinen, the cuff, toes and heels. And this purple variegated yarn is Sweet Georgia Tough Love Sock. A very nice and easily memorizable pattern, and this has already been published in Revelry. I got a few questions about that after my last episode, so it is already published and I highly recommend it. It's a really nice and easy knit. The pattern is easily memorized and the fit is great, and you might want to choose a bit more tonal color than what I did, because in my yarn the pattern does get lost a little bit, but I think it's quite nice still. But of course in a tonal or solid color you could see the stitches even more. So this is the other sock, and the other one is still in progress. Here it is, so not much more to go. Then I have my blueberry waffle socks. Actually, I'm not sure. I might have not worked on these at all since my last episode. I also have a half finished, or one sock finished, and then the other one is just missing the toe and the heel. So those shouldn't take too much time anymore. Then I have socks in my Give Me a Crown bag. There's also a finished sock in here. These are körttisukat, a traditional Finnish pattern, and the other one is already past the heel. I'm using Susan B. Anderson's Smooth Operator sock pattern for the sock itself, and then the stitch pattern is the traditional Finnish one. I actually tried, I put in the waste yarn and I did it in garter stitch. I don't think it matters. Susan B. Anderson recommends doing it in stockinette, but I don't really see why you couldn't do it in garter stitch. So those should be finished. I'm hoping to finish all these socks by the end of the year. Then there is my scrappy sock, which has grown quite a lot. I'm using my 9-inch circulars, and I'm going to do the Kirby Werby afterthought heel on these ones. So I'm assuming that I will put my heel somewhere around here, so I'm already on the foot. And here is my little collection of Knitlops Lair sock yarns. Actually all of these socks except for these ones are made in Knitlops Lair sock yarn, Väinämöinen, in different colors. And then one more work in progress. I told you earlier about my sock design, which I sent to our local newspaper's sock design contest, and I won first place. And it was a sock knit toe up with a little stitch pattern on the instep. But the yarn shop, which was also co-hosting the competition, they asked me if I could write a pattern for it, also made cuff down, because the more traditional knitters in Finland would probably prefer that. So I am making a sample for that. I actually showed you on my last episode that I had just cast on in this dark blue colorway, knitting it cuff down, but it was so dark that it was too hard for me to see where the stitch pattern was. And as it is very dark this time of year in Finland, I feel like you cannot have enough light in the house to be able to see what you're making in this kind of really dark yarn. So I ripped it back. I had only made the cuff ribbing, and I started it in a lighter color. So this is again same yarn as always, Knitlops Lair. It's light green color, and it's called Absinthi. So I just wanted to knit the sock before I started writing the pattern from the cuff down, because I'm not sure how the the stitch pattern is going to be. It won't look as nice when you're knitting it from this direction, because depending on the length of your foot, the pattern might be sort of cut in the wrong spot, if you know what I mean, because it's got these lines that go through, and when you're knitting it from the toe up, you start from sort of from the beginning of the motif, but when you're knitting it top down, your pattern or the stitch pattern will end wherever your toe is. So I mean, I can of course, and I will make my sock in I can count the rows and know exactly where to place my heel in order to get the stitch pattern going all the way down to the toe, and not having to start another repeat somewhere near the toe. But I think it might be a bit too complicated for some knitters to try and figure out how it goes, so I might just write in the pattern that you're not going to be able to match the pattern as it is knit in the sample when you are knitting top down, unless you count the rows and unless you know exactly how many rows it takes from the heel to your toe. I also have the newspaper here with me. So this is the newspaper local to us, Rantalakeus, and there you can see me knitting in the cover. and they made an article with an interview. Can I fit this? And you can also see all the other designs that were submitted to the contest. They all look quite a bit different than my socks, which unfortunately I don't have a pair with me because they are giving all these socks for charity, but maybe you can see it somehow in the picture. If you check my last episode, number 7, you will see the socks in detail in there. Okay, I think we're finished with the works in progress. So we can move on to acquisitions. I have quite a lot of yarn. I have a beautiful new knitting magazine and some Christmas decorations that I want to share with you. Let's start with the yarn. First of all, as I mentioned, I received 3 skeins of Australian yarn from my swap Secret Santa. So Chris sent me these, they're all different brands. So the first one, which I already showed you, is the Dingo Die Works Ridgy Ditch in Lightning Ridge colorway. It's 85% extra fine merino and 15% nylon, 100 grams, and I have knit 2 different projects in this yarn, and I have to say that it is the softest yarn that I've ever held in my hands. It's gorgeous and I love the colors that Peter dyes. So remember to join our Lamus knit along, because you might be the lucky winner for Peter's beautiful yarn. Then Chris sent me skein yarn. Oops, upside down. Skein yarn. This is BFL sock 4-ply. And it is Scuba Dive colorway, and I think I might like to knit my Lamus socks in these. Maybe I might not be able to make a pair for my own knit along, which is a bit sad, but I already knit my pair when I was designing, and I knit another prototype before these, so I sort of got sick of the lace pattern, but I love wearing these and I think they are beautiful when I'm wearing them, and I really want to make myself another pair, but I'm not sure if I can manage that before the end of the year. But I really enjoy seeing all of your work in our knit along threads, so keep posting your pictures. And then the third skein is Miss Click Clack's hand dyed yarns. It's the Merry Creek sock yarn in the Child of the Universe. I think that's the colorway's name. And it's 80/20 Australian superwash merino and nylon. And this is a tiny bit thicker than these two, because it's got 374 meters in 100 grams. And this is so soft as well. beautiful yarns. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to make with these. Then, oh, I forgot to mention that the scarf, or did I mention it? I might have mentioned it. So this scarf was knit in Lustig Yarns Merino DK, which is the pattern designer's own hand-dyed yarn from Helsinki. And when I said that I would do the test knit, I already had, I think, this pink yarn in my stash, and then I ordered another skein, which was the yellow on the other side, this one. And I usually, when I order things online, I like to order more than just one skein, because it doesn't make much sense to pay the postage for just one skein when you probably can fit at least another skein for the same price. So I also ordered this merino singles skein, which is beautiful orange and pink and hints of blue. Really nice and soft singles yarn. And I already am thinking that, because I have this colorway in the same yarn, I think I'm going to pair these and possibly knit a shawl, also my own design, which I'm hoping to write a pattern for. So, but also when is it Andrea Maury's? Andrea Maury's Finding Your Fate shawl was published, I started thinking that these yarns would go really nicely for that shawl as well. So I don't know, I'll have to think about it. Moving on, lots of yarn, lots. Then I have bought more Knitlops Lair. I went to the Knitlops Christmas party last weekend in the Lair, as she calls it. So I couldn't just leave without buying anything. And on the same day as I went to the Christmas party, I got my other order from another yarn shop in central Finland, because I wanted to order the new Line magazine, which I tell you more about in a bit. But I decided again that it doesn't make sense to buy just one item, so I ordered, I think it was these two skeins, and no, not that one, and this skein that I already started working with. These three colors in Knitlops Lair, because as you have noticed, I knit with this yarn all the time, so it doesn't harm having a few skeins in your stash, so that you can always start a new one when you feel like it. So these were from my online order with the magazine, and then I went to the Christmas party and look at all these. I got these skeins from there. I wanted to get one skein of these Keltamulta colorway, which is the same colorway and same yarn that I used for my Lakeus socks for the competition. Because I don't have a pair for myself, I thought that I would also make one in the original color as well someday. I also got these DK weight sock yarns. The other one is this red. It doesn't really show quite right on the screen. And then the other one is light gray. And I am thinking of knitting a pair of DK weight socks for myself, maybe in some sort of color work, if I can make myself do that, because I don't really enjoy knitting color work. I have a pair of winter boots, woolly or felted winter boots, and they are a tiny bit too big for me. So I thought that I would make a thicker pair of socks to wear with those boots. And then we also got a door prize each from the Christmas party. So it was a surprise set of two different colorways in Pohjan Akka yarn base, which is 100% wool, and these are 50-gram skeins, so it equals as a one whole skein. The other one is a really dark purple, and the other one is variegated or tonal green. They go very nicely together, and it's quite soft even though it's 100% wool. I think I might consider making a hat out of these. I think that was all for the new yarn acquisitions. I'm still going to show you one more skein or pair of half skeins. I won these in the La Bien Aimes Socktober knit along, and I think I'm going to start my Christmas Eve cast on for socks, which Danny from the Little Bobbins podcast is hosting, or it's not a knit along as in winning prizes or having a group in Revelry, I don't think, but it's just it's more like a cast-on along. So everybody gets to pick their favorite yarn from their stash and sit down on Christmas Eve and cast on a pair of new socks. So I think I'm going to use this yarn, and I am thinking of purchasing the Vanilla is the New Black sock pattern. So I need to start skeinin these, not skeinin, winding these into a cake tonight, so that I will be ready tomorrow, because tomorrow morning I will go to my parents' house, and my sister's family is also coming over. We're going to have Christmas dinner or lunch, and then Santa is coming in the afternoon, early afternoon, and then around 10 p.m. I have to go to work, which is my last day or night at work this year. So I'm not sure how much time I have in my hands for sock knitting, probably a little bit before I go to work. So I want to have these ready for the cast on when I have the time. Okay, now I want to show you this gorgeous new magazine that was published last week in Finland. It is available internationally. You can go to linemagazine.com to find all the international stockists. I have been following their Instagram for, I can't remember when they started it, but from the beginning, maybe about a year or something, or half a year. And they have had amazing photos, like teasers of this excuse me, teasers of this beautiful magazine, and I've been anxiously waiting for it, and it finally arrived, and it is just perfect. If I was to make a knitting magazine myself, it would be like this. Not sure if I would be able to do as beautiful work as the team has done, but this is like my ideal kind of knitting magazine. So there are knitting patterns. I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to show you patterns. I think there were 10 different patterns. Excuse me. And then interviews of Stephen West and Johi Locatelli. There was a travel guide to Lisbon with, of course, where to shop yarn. Some recipes that you can try. Gorgeous photos. I think this is one of my favorite patterns in this magazine, and it is a pattern by Jonna Hietala, who is the editor-in-chief of this magazine. She used to be the owner of Kerä, a yarn shop in Tampere in southern Finland, and I met her when I went to Stephen West's workshop in her shop. A really nice and very enthusiastic lady whose passion is seen in this magazine, I think, very well. Helga Isager's interview, and there was also an interesting article about the Finship breed that I used for my Luotolainen fisherman's sweater, which I have been talking about a lot in the previous episodes. There's Johi, and I also like Johi's cardigan. But all in all, this is just an amazing, beautiful magazine. So if you have a chance to buy this near you, I highly recommend it. And the next issue is coming sometime next year in the springtime, I think. I'm definitely going to be knitting something from this magazine. And lastly, I want to show you a couple of tiny things that I received as a surprise from my friend. Hi Paula, if you're watching, I'm sure you are at some stage. She went to Thailand about a month ago, I think, and she brought me this beautiful angel ornament. I think it's a Christmas tree ornament. It's made from red and white beads in different sizes. It's from the Home of Grace, and it says here that this product has been handmade by a single mother living at Home of Grace. Beautiful. And then I also received this cute elephant bookmark. I think this is going to be ending up between the pages of one of my knitting books. So thank you, Paula. I really enjoyed these. They are beautiful, and I think now I'm finally going to take this out of its bag and put it somewhere in my house. Okay, I just need to check whether I have mentioned everything. About 2 weeks ago, I went to Hailuoto Island to play with my chimes group at the Christmas carols in Hailuoto Church. So I might pop in a video from when I went there. Not so much from the Christmas carols because I was not really able to film there while I was playing, but I managed to record us playing, and also I took a photo from the church, and then I filmed a little video on my way when I was taking the ferry to the island. And also you saw in the beginning a little footage from the snowy forest, or actually from the snowy swamp, where I went to a week ago when the weather was just gorgeous. It was like a perfect Christmas weather, but it's all gone now. It's dark and icy and very slippery everywhere. There isn't much snow left. It's been raining, and yeah, we are actually waiting for a blizzard in Finland on Christmas Eve, but it's really hard to know whether it's going to be in this area or somewhere else. So we'll see. So with that, have a very Merry Christmas if you're celebrating. Happy holidays, and I will probably see you once more before the end of the year, if all goes well. Until then, bye! We are now on the ferry, and we are ready to leave as soon as it's 4 o'clock, which it will be in a minute or two. The ferry is not even half full, so not that many people are going to the island tonight, which I thought might be the case, but you can never be sure. Oh, there's still one more car racing to get to the ferry. And they made it. I forgot to say that I am really anxiously waiting for them to open the ice road so that we wouldn't have to catch the ferry, but instead we can drive across the ice to the island, which cuts the traveling time to half, I would say. Maybe even more than that, because then you don't have to wait in the line, and the travel across the ice or the water is then split in half. Let me see if I can show you what it looks like when we leave. That's a windmill, you probably can't really see it with the red light. And as you can see, there's still some red and orange in the horizon from the sunset. And the ice road actually goes on that side of the ferry way. I don't know how far away from the ferry it goes, but you can clearly see the ferry. I'm guessing it's probably some, I don't know, 50 meters or something. But the ice is not thick enough yet, so we still have to wait. Usually they open it in January, if at all. It all depends on the weather.